Hey there, friends. Welcome to another episode of Behind the Mask. I'm your host, Sarah Joy, your friendly neighborhood interrogator turned clone, helping you get to know who the person is behind the screen name. Tonight we're chatting with Zach. You may know them from Tales from the Outer Rim and most recently, The Fear Within. I think that released,
Hmm.
right? Yeah, good. As the super fun kid to my very dark what entity?
Entity.
Entity? Yeah. So, Zach, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Um,
This is
well,
the hardest question I ask you
this
all
is
night,
the
don't worry.
hardest question. I I was in the Navy for a while. We've
Oh,
been
interesting.
we have we started. I stopped playing D&D for a long time because I kept getting really bad groups, and I told myself I'd never play again. I just started collecting the books, and
Mm-hmm.
until a friend at work forced me to play, he's like, "We're gonna play a game." So, and now I'm here.
Cool. So it started with the Navy, and then it was a lie to yourself that you were going to be collecting D&D books. Then somebody forced you to play D&D, and here we are.
Yeah, and that forced me to make dice because they don't make a dice for our game anymore. So,
Oh my gosh. Yeah, okay. 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 So, friends, we got lots of rabbit trails with this one. Oh my gosh, I love that so much. So, how would the mundane world perceive you if you were out at the grocery
it would
store?
not. I don't leave my house. I've got quite a few neurodivergencies, so I tend to stay at home. When I do go out, I don't know. I think I have resting angry face sometimes. 'Cause I just
I like it.
I just when I go out, I'm probably chasing my child.
Awesome. Do you have one or many?
Just one. That's it.
Just
Done.
you
One's
have
enough.
procreated, it is over.
Yes.
Awesome. Oh my goodness. And what is one fun thing about them without disclosing any of their personal information?
They're also a little neurospicy, so they have a lot of interests. Like, they're really interested in trains and tornado sirens. They can tell you any tornado siren that they see, down to like the sub model of tornado siren. They can tell by hearing them, different types of tornado sirens
That is
and
so cool.
and trains. And
Uh-huh.
there's one more, water towers. Really big into water towers.
I mean, water towers are pretty cool, and across these here United States, they are quite different.
Yes, they are.
So
Yeah,
I love that.
I do a
Sweet.
lot of 3D printing them for him. So.
Ah, 3D printing. That's right.
Hmm.
It's like, oh my gosh, what KB Toys and Toys R Us used to be to us is now 3D printing, right?
I mean, it's gotta be. They don't have them those anymore. Not even
I
Toys
know.
R Us. It's gone.
Right. It's so sad. These are the sad things in our life. Let's talk about happy things. So I'm super curious. What was your first game?
Tabletop game, I'm assuming.
I'm super ambiguous about this for a reason. You
Uh,
decide what was your first game.
we'll go with tabletop. My very first
Okay.
tabletop game that I ever played was the. Hold on. I think it's the 30th anniversary or 20th anniversary of Star Wars, the Saga Edition,
Oh, cool.
the D20 system.
Hmm.
We played one game, and it was right before I left for boot camp because a bunch of us were leaving, and it was like we all wanted to play D&D. None of us ever played D&D because we were all too afraid to tell each other we like D&D. So we played
Oh
one
my God, yeah.
game, and then I didn't play for like 3 years.
Ah,
So
yes, the Navy. Then it does kind of suck your time out away from playing D&D. It's too bad. That's so cool. So it was you and a bunch of your friends, and you were suddenly like, I have this confession to make. I really want to play D&D. And then somebody else was like, me too.
yeah, yeah.
And then you gamed.
They were like, really? Well, we should play a game before you go. It was like a week before I left. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And then we played, and I was like, we can't play anymore. And now I'm sad because I really liked my character.
Oh my God. Oh, so do you remember your character?
I believe it was a Miri Allen or a Mira Lucan. I can't recall which, but we were playing Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all I remember. The
Oh,
rules were still very we were all still rules new, so I don't
there
recall
was a
much
lot
of
of
it.
consulting the book.
Mm-hmm.
We've all been there. So I'm curious. So you played that game at, I'm going to assume somewhere around 17, 18. Um,
Yeah, about 1920. Yeah.
1920. Okay, 1920. And then suddenly you were like, all right, 3 years, I'm off D&D. It's terrible. I had my one experience. And
Well,
then what happened?
I was in the Navy still, and I
Mhm.
happened to I at towards the end of my time in, I just kind of let my nerd flag fly, and I'm not gonna be here much longer. I don't care what y'all think about me. I like Star Wars D&D. They all knew I liked Star Wars, but when they found out that I liked D&D and that I had thought about running, that I had the books, they were like, "Well, you need a GM for us." I had like 4 people that wanted to play, uh,
Mhm.
but the only thing I remember about this game, we played like 4 times, but the only thing I remember is two of the characters two of the players made characters that were like in a band together, like a punk rock band. One of them was a Wookiee who was shaved except for a green mohawk, and I'm like, I'm not sure anyone in the like, we can't go around any other Wookiees in the galaxy. They will tear you apart, man. He's like, I don't know. He didn't know anything about Star Wars. He just wanted to play D&D. So uh, that's the only thing I remember is a shaved Wookiee with a green mohawk.
Oh my God,
It
that's
haunts
amazing.
me to this day.
You know what? People make choices. People make choices. I love the fact that he just wanted to play D&D. He's like,
I'm
I
not gonna
don't
stop him.
understand Star Wars, but D&D.
Yeah, I'm just like, listen, the galaxy may not understand you, but I'm here for it.
We can make our own galaxy. That's the beautiful thing about D&D.
It's true. It's true.
Oh my God, I love it so much. So tell me about this game you were forced into.
Oh, when I was in the Navy, that's literally all I remember about
Was
that.
that the
That's
one that you were forced to play D&D and it was the game that you were in the Navy? You said one of your coworkers forced you to play D&D.
oh, no, no, no. Okay, I'm sorry.
That's
This is
another time.
many games later. Because I tried to run a game with some family and friends,
Mhm.
and some people were hard to play with. So that game fell apart because people didn't want to play anymore. And then I tried to start a game with random people on the internet,
Uh-huh.
and it was the first time I'd ever even attempted it. I was super nervous, and everyone was really excited, and then one person did everything they could to kind of make it bad for everybody. And that was when I kind of turned in my dice bag and was like, I think I'm done because it stressed me out so much. I was like, I don't know if I can
Mhm.
handle meeting new people to play a game with. And when we moved to Iowa and I was working at this DNA lab, and one of the guys there found out that I had GM'd before and that like I
Mhm.
had all these books, and he's like, "You need to listen to this podcast." We were listening to the Adventure Zone. He's like, "We need to do a podcast." So I was like, I don't know. I don't even want to really start playing again. Because what happens if it all goes bad again?
Mhm.
No, we're gonna play. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe we might not even be able to find anyone to play. A week later, he comes to me with 3 other people. He's like, we're ready to play. So, yeah, we decided we'd give it a shot, and then never really stopped, never looked back.
Oh my God, I love that. And was that Tales from the Outer Rim or was that something else first?
So that was Tales of the Outer Rim before these episodes haven't been released. I have a bunch of them, but we lost a lot of them. And the
Oh
plan was
no.
always to record, edit, and then release them in a
Mhm.
timeline. Um, and we were playing through a bunch of modules, but then COVID hit, and we all got split on shifts. Uh, so we couldn't play together. A bunch of us were just on different shifts. We couldn't make
Mhm.
it work. So I had 2 of the other guys. We were like, we'll just play on our own time. We'll do a side game. And my sister-in-law, I was talking to her about it, and she was really excited about the podcast. And I'm like, yeah, but now we gotta wait because COVID. She's like, if you don't put an episode out, you never will.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, all right, fine. So we started recording Jedi Adventures, which is the Tales of the Outer Rim is now the overarching name of our show.
Uh-huh.
But we started doing the Jedi Adventures side stuff, which was just supposed to be Adam and Everett, and they were just going to be Explorer Corps Jedi washouts that were
Uh-huh.
going from different like ruins or derelict ships, doing like Indiana Jones type stuff. But then it
Mm-hmm.
became the show. So we actually just recorded season 2, episode 1, 2 days ago. So
Nice.
uh, yeah,
Congratulations.
it's been quite a while. Like we started in like 2016, but didn't release our first episode till 2018, I think.
Oh my gosh,
2017.
that's good though, because it was, and I'm gonna say this, it was only 2 years, right? Like,
It was a long 2 years.
yeah, it was the long 2 years before our long 2 years.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but that's so good, right? Because you got there and you had somebody who was in your corner who was willing to be like, hey, you just need to start putting things out there.
And she was right. I wouldn't have probably done it, or it would have
Hmm.
taken us, even more, like 4 more years. But my only problem is that first game, I had such a really well thought out. This is what's happening. This is the story. This is what's happening in the galaxy in the background. This is what the end goal is, and however they choose to get there, this is what's going to happen ultimately, whether they intervene or not. Something is
Uh-huh.
is working towards an end goal. Well, then when we did the Jedi Adventure stuff, it was just to kill time. There was no it wasn't supposed to be the story. It was just we were just doing random things. And now I have to go back and I listened to some of the episodes and I'm like, wow, you could tell we were really disconnected. So I am now season 2 is coming around and I'm trying to make it an actual like I've planned further ahead. I've got ideas as to how I want it to evolve.
Hmm.
So it's now more of a story than it was just a collection of random events. So
I don't know. I'm
hopefully
a
it
big
tracks.
fan of Adventure of the Week. Like,
I just want everyone to have fun, and as long
yeah.
as we're laughing at the table and having a good time. I was trying so hard to be serious, but my players are so chaotic. There's no possible way for me to have a serious game. Even if it's super serious in tone, we're gonna be laughing before the episode's over.
Oh my God, I love that. I mean,
Yeah.
like, real life is real life. What is real life? Real life is serious enough, right? Like, we all need to be able to go have our own fun adventures in space and raid cruisers and whatnot. Like,
Oh yeah.
it's allowed to be funny.
Yeah. We're I'm doing a lot of mixing legends with current canon.
Ooh, okay.
So we're doing stuff with like the Rakata and the Kwa, which are like deep lore
Yeah, and
stuff.
that's way deeper
So
than I got. So yeah. Oh my God, sounds amazing. Yeah.
yeah, it's Infinite Empire stuff. So like if you've ever played um, the Old Republic games, like the MMO Old Republic,
Oh.
they do a little bit with the Rakata and like
Mm-hmm.
Infinity Gates and stuff. That's
Mm-hmm.
kind of what we're. I could talk about the lore all day, but
That's super fun.
it'll take way too long.
No, it's not going to take me too long. So I'm super curious. What got you into Star Wars in the first place?
So I have really bad ADHD and autism. So when I
Mhm.
find something that entertains me, everything else becomes nothing, and that's all I can focus on, and I just repeat it over and over and over and over and over again. So when I was really little, before my parents got divorced, it was Ghostbusters. I would watch
Uh,
like when my mom was pregnant with my younger brother. I
mhm.
watched Ghostbusters 1 and 2 so many times that I would burn out VHS tapes, which if anyone listening watching who doesn't know what a VHS tape is, it's a little rectangle that's got a magnetic piece of tape that you had to rewind when you were done with it because it's not a DVD. There's no menu. You had to rewind it. Uh,
Oh my
and I
gosh.
would burn I watched them so much that the magnetic strips wouldn't play the tapes anymore. We'd have to keep buying new Ghostbuster movies. And my parents got divorced. My mom remarried. Then my stepdad had a bunch of movies. And it was one
Uh-huh.
of those things where we were always didn't want to touch any of his movies. It was like we didn't know like what were and weren't allowed to watch. So kind of had a sheltered childhood, but I think it's because we were just too wild to be taken in public. But well, we were by our home alone one time, and I was like, let's watch some of these movies, and this one's got 3 in it. It was the OG Han shot first VHS tapes and the hand painted cover art.
The cover, yeah.
Yeah, and
I know exactly what you're talking
I
about.
put it in. My brother was
Mhm.
disinterested almost immediately, and I'm just like, and I never looked back. Like Ghostbusters was still super fun, but Star Wars became like everything. It was because
Next
it's everything I
level.
wanted: space, exploration, cool like technology that I couldn't even imagine. Like it was everything I could have ever wanted. I'm real big about space. I love space. So
Ooh,
Star Wars was Ghostbusters was cool, but Star Wars was everything.
that's well, it's like wizards in space, right?
Yeah, it is awesome. Magic,
Yes.
technology,
Yep.
stars, spaceships, planets,
Little
all
little
different
bit
kinds,
of
aliens.
telenovela drama, you know.
Hmm.
Yes, always here for that.
Yes.
Oh my God, I love that. So why is space the best?
There's just so
Because it
much of it.
totally is.
It's unknown. Like I felt like there were like we haven't seen everything on the planet, but as a child, it's like everyone's seeing the whole world. The world is just the world. But space has things you couldn't even imagine. There's things, there could be whole other species. There's just, it's so empty and like vast. It just goes on forever and ever. And there's such cool stuff if you just look out. And, I don't know. It was just great.
Yeah, I too was am super obsessed with space. My living room is actually space themed, so
Yeah.
I love it.
And Star Wars stuff everywhere.
I can see where you're at right now in your amazing ship.
Yeah,
Just everywhere. It's no,
yeah,
it's underground because it's got
it's
root.
yeah. I can't recall where this is. I had like 6 backgrounds picked out, and this one was the best one. So
I like that one. That's
I
pretty
couldn't
rad.
find Hoth, a good Hoth by itself, and I couldn't find.
Mhm.
I was really looking for some that had interactive with people moving in the background, so it felt like I was really there, but harder to find than I
All I would
imagined.
have been doing the whole time is like looking at the people behind you, being like,
Same here. Oh yeah.
"What's going on?" It's just a whole episode of us staring at your background. Oh my gosh. Ooh, the chat thinks they know. Yavin 4.
I don't think this is Yavin. I'm
Okay.
I'm almost certain this isn't Yavin. It's a
Uh-huh.
different. And the only reason I say that is because I don't believe this is Masasi architecture.
Uh-huh.
I'm pretty sure this is something from newer stuff.
Oh my God, I love everything about this.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is newer.
That's awesome.
Unless somebody made their own Yavin 4 background.
Right,
But
and did it like it's their artwork
yeah,
interpretation. Yeah.
yeah.
One of the resistance spaces, 100%, that is totally a resistance
Oh,
space.
for sure.
Yeah. Also, TFA.
Force Awakens.
The Force Awakens. Oh yeah, totally could be. That sounds right. Okay. We're gonna stop obsessing about your background and just obsess more about you.
I was looking at the wrong chat. I had all the questions up.
Oh
So
yeah.
hello everybody.
No, you don't need those questions. Don't worry about those questions. Those are not the questions you're looking for. Yes. Okay. So, yeah, my space theme living room will be after the trim is actually put up and it's not the insulation on my windows right now. So there's a big Star Trek ship going up back there, an Enterprise. Anyway, so I let's talk about the games that didn't go well.
Mhm.
And yeah,
There were a
so
few of
like
them.
we've all, especially all of us who have gamed for some time, have totally been there. I would love to know what was something that you learned from each of those games and how do you take that now into your gaming and into your life?
Well, I had a problem with assertiveness. I like the idea, since it's a fantasy universe,
Hmm.
to let people do what they want. And I try to take their characters and incorporate my things built around their characters.
Mhm.
I don't want to be like, this is the story, this is what I'm doing. Make your characters based on what I want you to do. You know, like
Mhm.
some people will have like, hey, our scene is this is our scene. It's like a one shot. Which when we do one shots, that's what I'm saying. Hey, this is what we're doing. But our like main game, I'm like, hey, I have an idea where I want us to go, but I don't have anything set as far as specific baddies, specific locations, specific like requirements. So you make your characters, tell me what you want to do with your characters, find a way to make it work, and then I'll build the extra stuff around it as we go. I
Mhm.
just want people to have fun because it's a little selfish. I have fun doing it, and I like to share it, and I want it's you can't do it by yourself. You know,
Right.
it's like it's got to be a team effort. So, uh, some of the problems I had initially is trying to accommodate everybody, not
Mhm.
realizing right away that one or two people had their own agenda that they wanted to kind of hijack everything.
Mhm.
They like purposefully be difficult just to see what they can get away with because I won't stop them. But then it gets to the point where something backfired on them and they get upset and they get really upset that something didn't go their way and
Mhm.
or they'll try to push something so far as to the point where it's not fun for anybody else. And I
Right.
had to learn just to be like, I understand where you're coming from. We can talk about a way to make this work, but um, we're not just gonna. This isn't something we're just going to do.
Mhm.
We'll find a way to make if someone's like I don't have anyone that's difficult anymore, so it's hard for me to kind of like I honestly get so anxious when I have a difficult player that I just cancel the game usually. Uh, it's I don't know.
Although I have a theory. I have a hypothesis.
Hmm.
So you dealt with difficult folks up front, right?
Hmm.
And learned through that how to have conversations like about, hey, this is what we're doing, set some boundaries up front. Do you think maybe you may have players that could have been difficult? Like, don't name them.
Oh, I
Like,
won't. I don't even. Some of them were anonymous anyway, so I don't.
perfect, yeah. But
Yeah.
like, do you think those lessons and that boundary setting has really helped you, like just as a GM, as you've gone forward, and especially now that you have the podcast and the stream, right?
Hmm. Honestly, having the podcast and the stream it also helped because it's like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
we're making a show. We all agreed to make a show.
Mm-hmm.
We want to make a quality show, something that's good, something that's like fun. So
Mm-hmm.
if someone is making it not fun or they are wanting something that's not like kosher with what we're doing, something that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't like flow with what we're doing, and they're purposely going against that flow, like because I will let my players do whatever they want as long as you're not being mean,
Mm-hmm.
making it all about you, or just kind of being a general drag. Like I want fun. I want people to have fun. And because it was so hard for me to start another game, I think it really helped me decide like this is what who I want. These are the they came to me. They asked me to play. So it's like I feel like we're all on the same page. And whenever we get like someone who jumps in for a season or for, like a life day something or other,
Mm-hmm.
I'll be like, hey, listen, like we're here to have fun. This is kind of like we can do serious, we can do funny, we can do all of that in between. Um, but as long as we're playing together and not I'm a solo player and you all are just my like follow-ons,
Mm-hmm.
then we're good to go. Because I've had a player who, um, well, I'm the captain. It's like, well, generally we have like I'll have an NPC be a captain, or everyone will vote. Everyone decides, oh well, we're just gonna follow this person. You can't just say you're all gonna listen to me. and like be serious about it. Like you can say that, your character can
Right.
say that,
It's
as long
real
as you
cute.
let the other characters
Yes.
like disregard that. But if you're
Yeah.
gonna be a player telling other players that you're gonna do what I say kind of stuff, that doesn't fly. So I've become a lot more assertive. And it's mostly because of the podcast. Like if
Uh-huh.
we were playing on our own, I would probably be more inclined to just stop playing. But since we have the show, and I feel like some people like it, so I want to make sure that I'm, keeping people entertained. I want to be able to like maintain a good the democracy of the group has to remain intact.
Mhm.
I have one character who goes off on his own all the time, but it's not about them. Like,
Mhm.
I don't know if they're in chat. Mike Pye's characters, like one of his Dr. Agbazi character,
Uh-huh.
is kind of a drug addict. So he just wanders off, but it's not like he takes the story away from anybody else. He has his own little tangents, but they're
Mhm.
hilarious. And he's always like let's go back to so and so. This is what I'm gonna do now.
Perfect.
Then I'll stop here. Like, it's perfect. And then all of that stuff that he has done comes back and gets incorporated into the rest of the story. So it's not like it's just me. I'm not telling anyone. This is just my thing. It's Dr. Agbazi. This is what Dr. Agbazi would do. It's believable, and then
Mhm.
it all comes back. So, like, I'm down to let my players do whatever they want as long as we're all having fun.
I love that. I love that. And that's what it's about, right? Is telling that story together and working together to create something amazing.
There may
It's
be some pages
artwork.
missing. Yeah, there may be some pages missing, but the story still exists somewhere. There's a couple chapters, that get mixed around.
But I was gonna say, and that's life too, right? How many of our lives are there pages missing?
Right.
Oh my God. There is this amazing gif of a cat
Oh
probably
yeah,
in flour.
I see. Chaos. He's been watching this show, so kind of. Yeah, Rick Bozzi has a bit of an issue. Like, I got one character. I have two doctors now.
Oh,
One
two
of them
doctors,
is
two
one of them
character
is a
doctors.
drug addict. The other
Uh-huh.
one is Dexter.
Oh,
So he,
okay.
he drugs other people, either to calm them down or to acquire like a trophy. Uh, which honestly, there are times. Most of the time, I have no idea where anything is going. My players are so good at like setting themselves up. They'll be like, "Hey, what do you think about like if I just go? What kind of other species are around?" And I never catch on to what's happening until it
Oh
is
my God.
so far too late that I'm just like,
Chaos.
"You got Jawa eyes now, and they glow. Great."
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Our life
That's
day stuff is wild.
that's so good. That's so good. Oh my gosh. Oh, I love that. Doc Zaz.
Yep.
I love
Yeah.
it. If y'all haven't listened, take a listen. It's all about the wild storytelling too, right?
For
So
sure.
I'm curious too, with the serial killer and drug addict. How do you kind of balance that, like with
I
sensitive
don't.
topics and whatnot? You don't.
I do take a personal joy in
Oh
trying
my gosh.
to, because they all like some of them have secrets that they don't want the other players to know. Like we all
Mhm.
know about the secrets, but the
Right.
characters don't know about some of these secrets. And it's like I try to like throw little things in there to expose their secrets. I'm not gonna force their secret out, but Doc Zaz specifically is a they're shapeshifters.
Oh,
I can't remember Claudite,
Claudite. Yeah. Thank
and
you, Chad.
they shapeshift by having they shapeshift
Oh,
by
yeah.
moving fluid in their skin, right? That's how they shapeshift. So he's got stuff to help him move his fluid through his skin to shapeshift easier. But anytime he gets distracted or unconscious or something like intense is happening, I make him do a check to see if he can maintain his facade. Because
Uh,
sometimes he'll come back to the group and forget that he's not Zaz, or or he'll come back to try and steer the group in a certain direction. And I'm like, are you turning back in front of everybody? And he's like, no. I'm like, okay. And then things start getting heated, and I'm like, I need you to make a check real quick. Or he'll sneak off and try to change back into himself. I'm like, what do you do about your clothes? What about your clothes? He's like, well, I'm going to put this in a bag, and I'm just going to dress like this. I'm like, all right, so you're going to have to remember when you come back, otherwise they're going to do perception checks, and they're going to have to see if they can notice anything different about you. And it's fun.
Oh my god, I love
I just
that.
do little pushes to see if I can, and I make the checks really easy. That way, it's I'm not taking anything away from the character, but there's always that chance that now they have to spill the beans or convince everyone that that Dr. Ekbazi got everybody high on accident. Like it's
Oh my god.
which is not something that hasn't happened before. But
Wow.
yeah, our
Oh
life
my
day stuff is
God.
fantastic.
I love that.
I'll say
Yes.
it again and again. Our life day stuff is just great. There's
It
no
is
rules for
is
life day.
on my list, which is there's so many amazing podcasts out there, but oh my gosh, you've now bumped it up my list.
The only problem we have,
I
so
live for
we've got
chaos.
2 sailors, a plumber, and like we have potty mouths. So on our show,
real? Oh,
on-
like the
on
mundane
our-
life, that's what they do.
Oh. on our show, words fly. Like there's a lot of, unfortunately, there's a lot of F-bombs.
I'm really
I guess
proud
there's
of
not
you for
so
holding it
many.
down.
I guess there's not so many that it's like, whoa. But we don't really censor the language that we use, which I kind of regret now because I'm sure we could reach a wider audience if Star Wars curses. But at the time when we started, I didn't really like have a list of Star Wars curses, because honestly, I hadn't even like the first Star Wars podcast that I listened to was Redemption,
Uh-huh.
and we had already started recording by the time I found Redemption, because at the time searching on Spotify for a Star Wars podcast,
Oh
you
yeah,
couldn't
there was
just search
nothing, yeah.
Star Wars podcast, nothing came up,
Mm-hmm.
and I just got lucky and stumbled upon Redemption, and they had all of these different, like, oh, Criff and Kark, and I'm like, man, that's I wish we would have been doing something like that. We're just over here casting up a storm. I got a picture all of our episodes are listed as explicit because I never know, I don't pay attention when I edit, so I just mark all of them as explicit just in case.
You know
It
what?
covers
That's
all the bases.
probably wise. That's
Yeah.
probably wise. Or else you'd be editing quite a lot for.
Anytime we get new people on the Discord on Nightcast, I'm like, hey, just so you know, we have adult language podcasts.
Yeah.
Just a heads up.
Don't listen in the car with your kids,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
you,
yeah.
and then at least they can cuss correctly.
Yeah.
You gotta get grammatically appropriate cussing. I support this. Mark is like, don't say that.
It's a usage thing. As long as they know when, where, and how,
Right.
the when and where are the important.
Yes. Yes. The how can be the funny part. Oh my gosh, I love that. I too actually play with two sailors. One is retired and one is not. So I don't know what it is about the Navy. Y'all got something
Navy
in the water
military.
there.
It is literally part of the culture. It's like, because I
Mm-hmm.
was a goody two shoes, I guess you could say, before I joined. It was one of those things where because you hushed. Maybe you said like, oh, they just said, ooh. But then it gets to the point in the military, you don't even notice that people are saying it because you're more focused on the content of what they're saying because it's so important. I was a maintenance, I worked on aircraft electronics, so it's
Oh, cool.
more important to know the content of what they were saying and not like the extra verbiage that was thrown in there with it.
Right.
Sometimes it was easier if like it was easier to get things across rapidly if you just let people speak a certain way. And then it's one of those things where no one bats an eye, so it just continues to snowball and snowball.
Well, and science
we also
has
learn
proven
where.
that it's a pressure release, right?
We get hurt a lot too, so it definitely helps
Oh.
relieve pain. So.
Yes. It's like Advil, but it comes from inside and out of your
Oh yeah.
mouth and doesn't really harm that many people.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I love it.
Again,
Uh,
it's knowing the when, where, and how.
yes.
The why kind of fits in there sometimes too, but the why is never important. It's going to happen. There's no why.
Right.
As
Right.
long as you're,
We all know why when it happens. I'm just
yeah.
saying.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love it. All right, I'm gonna keep us going down on why cussing isn't that bad if I don't grab another question real
Yeah.
quick. Oh my gosh. As always, I go to K White for the best questions. Everybody's questions are the best. K Whites are the most random that get me off on awesome tangents. So what is the best costume you have ever worn in your life? Could be Halloween or could be at work. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm giving you like a
I
wide
was gonna
parameter.
wear one to the stream, but it's just so hot in this room that I couldn't do it. I
Oh,
have two that are pretty much complete that are probably my favorites. I have
okay.
the Ghostbuster jumpsuit because of course I do. When I was in the Navy, we had flight suits, and I had
Hmm.
an actual tan flight suit from the Navy. I had like three of them, and they've got my name patch, the
Oh,
Ghostbuster
perfect.
style name patch, and
Yeah, you
everything.
didn't have to do anything.
And then I've got my Jedi costume, which I'm probably is probably the nicest and most elaborate costume that I have. Um, I did all the leather work myself. Um,
That's
my
amazing.
aunt did custom made the whole thing. We went out and shopped for material, and she custom made the entire thing for me, and it still mostly fits. Uh, my boots are falling apart, but yeah, it's
Well,
probably
you
my
already did
favorite.
leatherwork, so I feel like shoemaking is next.
Well, these are the boots were cheap costume boots because I needed boots fast, but I leather worked them. I added to them so they look
Uh-huh.
really fancy, like fancy riding boots. Um, but the sole's like flat now, and I've super glued them and super glued them and super glued
I
them.
was
But
gonna say with an appropriate amount of
I mean,
E6000
I've
outside your house with a mask on, they'll
I've
stay
got
back.
my leather all, but it doesn't really work with plastic and pleather and rubber. So uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that so much. So how long have you been doing leather working?
uh,
Sure, I understand.
Oh my gosh,
I,
Siri. Shh.
I was still in Illinois when I did that, so it's probably over 10 years.
Awesome.
I don't really do so much anymore because I'm more focused on the dice stuff now. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, I've made belts. When my wife and I were dating, I she, we went to one of the Star Wars movies in costume, and she was an Ewok, and I made all of the leather stuff for her Ewok costume. So that was probably the last time I did leather.
Ooh, okay.
I made some pouches and a belt, stuff for to go around her spear and stuff. That was a long time ago.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Was it the trilogy we don't speak of or the more recent trilogy?
I'm trying to remember. It's a while back, so it almost certainly had to have been episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm almost certain. My brother went with us, and my aunt had made him a costume to match mine, but his was green tunic. And
Uh-huh.
but he was too nervous to wear it. Like, he wore it all the way to the theater, and then
Uh-huh.
we got there, and he's like, "I don't know if I can wear this inside," and took it all off. Not he
Oh.
didn't think anyone else would be in costume. He thought we were gonna be weird. There were so many people in costume. I'm like, dude, you don't understand. You don't see anybody now, but like I have two newspaper trip cuttings upstairs
Uh-huh.
from when episode 1 came out. I
Mm-hmm.
worked at the movie theater, and I took the day off to see it, to stand in line for the midnight release in full costume, and a bunch of newspapers came and got pictures of me specifically in this costume, because my costume, I actually had like an actual like elaborate, not like a Spirit Halloween or just a plastic Vader mask. But I got a full on with a lightsaber and everything. So I've got some clippings upstairs papers that I
Okay,
cover up.
so we have our own little show us your behind the mask stuff channel. We need to see the leatherwork for the Ewok. We need to see the clipping of you in the awesome Jedi costume, and then like because the awesome Jedi costume was your favorite, and then the other one was Ghostbusters.
So the clippings are a little yellow and they may not transfer photo wise. And the only thing left of the Ewok costume is the belt. Because the ears didn't survive. And I actually on my wife's door is the little like cowl thing. You know how Wicket had the little hood and thing? Hers was just like over the shoulder type thing with the little orange and Rebel Phoenix, the Starbird.
Yep.
So that's actually on her door. I keep forgetting that's what that's from, but yeah, I guess that's still on her office door. So yeah,
That's awesome. I love that.
my child has a Jedi costume too, because it was for my youngest brother, but he grew out of it, and he sent it to me to give to my kid, and my kid has one also.
I love that so much. Oh my gosh.
It's really awesome.
Oh, I feel like too, we were not the first generation to start dressing up, because we were like the generation after. You and I are pretty close in age. I can tell by when we saw Star Wars. But like we really started wearing our costumes out in public and being very proud of how nerdy we were. Like one of my friends, is same thing. We went to episode 1 and we went multiple times and dressed up and like did our makeup.
I saw episode 1 like 3 or 4 times in theaters. I got free tickets because I worked there.
I did not get free tickets.
So I was just like, every weekend it's like, hey, I'm gonna go see Star Wars. And they're like, haven't you seen it? I'm like, oh yeah. So,
yeah, I'm gonna go see it again. Yeah, but it was like, because it was like that rebirth of all of the nerd stuff, right?
Have you ever gone to a midnight matinee of a Ghostbusters movie?
No, I have not.
That's where it's at. Everyone will clear lines. Everyone's in costume. You can't even hear the movie because everyone is in sync, quoting line after line after line. It is so much fun.
So I didn't know they had midnight matinees for that. I really would love to go see that. A couple of my friends are in the Georgia Ghostbusters group. So yeah, it's hard.
My brother wore my costume once when I was in the Navy. Actually, he was wearing my costume. One of the Ghostbuster groups in Illinois asked him that he would join. He's like, "This isn't mine. This is my brother's." So.
Oh my gosh!
I'm on a lot of forums that I haven't visited in a long time. I'm like on the Mando Mercs, the Rebel Legion, the Ghostbusters, the GB fans website. Like I haven't visited them very recently because I don't have the money to costume right now.
Man, yeah.
But yeah, and I do all my own electronics work too. So.
Oh, really? That's awesome. Did you do your own proton pack?
That is in the work. That's the one part of the costume I do not have. Now, I do have the trap, the wand, and the goggles, and I did not make those. Those are the Mattel that all linked up together. And
yeah.
Ghosts, the actually, those are in a box behind me. But
more pictures of those later. We get video, and I want video of sound.
I'm pretty sure somewhere way deep in the Nightcast chat, there's definitely pictures and video.
Oh my god, I love that.
I'll try to get recent.
That's amazing. So what got you into cosplaying? Because it took me a long time to I would do little costume things, but I wouldn't go full deep in. What got you into cosplaying, especially?
I always felt alien, like weird, right? I always felt weird and alien.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone belongs in those universes. Everybody, no matter who you are, like everyone belongs to those universes. So it was easy to costume because there was always somebody else in costume. Like it was weird to start because it was just me. But then once you find like the forums and people that are doing all this and all that, it's easy because it's like I don't know these people, but we all have this really similar, strong like connection, and it's we're all helping each other do something to belong somewhere else, and it feels right to be in costume. I was at a comic convention in Iowa a few years back, and I was getting approached, people wanting to take pictures with me in my Jedi costume, and I was like, hey, yeah, totally.
This is the best.
It's awesome. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And I think, again, just more about our generation, right? We got super lucky to especially be hitting like the later teen informative years where we had the forums where we could go and we could, like, I'm a huge Sailor Moon fan.
I
No,
love Sailor
like,
Moon. That's probably the first anime I think I ever watched.
same. Unless Thundercats counts as an anime, which I kind of wonder.
Yeah, I don't think it does, but if it did, that would probably be my first anime.
Right, yeah.
Ghostbusters cartoon, there was
It was,
Thundercats,
yeah.
there
Was
Gummy
Ronin
Bears.
Warriors at that point? Like,
Ronin
it was
Warriors.
right before Transformers. There was something that was Transformers-y, but not Transformers-y. I may not be remembering.
Ronin
that right.
Kenshin? I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know. It was
Ronin Warriors. I remember Ronin Warriors. I remember there's a lot of anime. I watched a lot of anime.
That's, I mean, I started spouting them off.
Yu Yu Hakusho. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cowboy Bebop is probably one of my favorite. And Trigun. The OG
Trigun. Oh my god. Yeah, I found Trigun.
Had never
in the
cried.
early 2000s.
I'd never cried in an anime until Trigun.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that was what really got me hooked on anime, because like I love Sailor Moon and stuff and like Dragon Ball Z and whatnot, but like Trigun, I was like,
Yeah,
this is like everything I need to see. It's like, it's space and it's drama and it's a lot of drama and it's a lot of feelings and it's the human condition, and love that. Anyway.
I had a person who nearly died trying to watch Dragon Ball Z. A friend of mine.
What?
Yeah, we were in like 7th or 8th grade, and he lived all the way across town, but him and his brother would ride their bikes. His brother walked, but he would ride his bike usually.
Mm-hmm.
And he got stuck late at school, and I lived like 4 blocks from the school at the time, and I remember him zipping past me really fast. I'm like, where you going, Mike? And he's like, gotta catch Dragon Ball Z. It was like the middle of the Frieza saga, so Goku was charging the Spirit Bomb for like 6 episodes, and he got hit by a car, like, bad. And the next time I talked to him, he was like, oh, it was awesome. I go, what are you talking about? He goes, I got to sit in the hospital bed, and every day I never missed Dragon Ball Z. I was like, you're insane, dude.
That kid is gonna be okay. He's still gonna be that guy years from now who's like, that's okay. If I got hit by a car and got to watch Dragon Ball Z and it was awesome. So
like,
how
I didn't miss an episode. He got to finish the Frieza saga without interruption. So,
Oh my gosh, I love that so much.
What really made it the best was that it was the Spirit Bomb charge. So Goku didn't do anything for like days. So like almost nothing happened. Like some little things happened in the background, but it was just Goku like holding a Spirit Bomb over his head, and he got hit by a car just to watch Goku hold a Spirit Bomb over his head for 6 episodes. But yeah, it was funny. Like, it wasn't funny when you heard about it.
Right, totally not.
He didn't
totally
let it bring him down, and the story is just funny.
Yeah, I love that too, because it speaks to the resilience of the human spirit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And especially if we have something that we love and we cherish, and we can focus on that. Dragon Ball Z, looking at you, like it gets us through.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Oh wow. Okay, here's a great one. Zach, are you secretly 2 capybaras in a trench coat?
Next question.
Oh, denial. The answer to that is yes. Oh my gosh.
I was a capybara in a little one-shot that we played with some folks in the Nightcast.
Oh, I love it.
It was pretty great.
That is amazing.
Capybaras are awesome. So I mean,
they are.
I accept being a capybara, 2 capybaras in a trench coat.
I think, and Mark will have to remind me because my memory is terrible, but I think I played in a one of the one shots coming up for Lone Gamers, and I think I was a ranger and I had a capybara. So we're hair twins.
Mm-hmm.
And chair twins. And capybara, I can't make that rhyme. Twins.
I would totally revisit that character. I loved that character.
Oh my gosh. We'll have to make it happen again. Mark, bring back the capybara.
Oh, that was Richard. That was Chaos, not Fire.
Oh, Richard, bring back the capybara.
The dude.
That would be amazing. I love it. Ooh, this is great. Who was your childhood hero? Hero being a gender neutral term, I believe. So,
Me.
well, yeah.
I honestly, as depressing as it sounds, I really felt like an outcast growing up. I didn't feel like I really belonged anywhere. Part of the neurodivergent thing, I just didn't. Everyone else was normal. So I didn't really have anyone to really look up to. I like Luke Skywalker was probably my hero, or Peter
Nothing wrong with
Griffin. But
Or who?
honestly, I was kind of I just did my own thing. It was
I love it.
mostly just me. Yeah.
But now you found your people. I feel like that happened to a lot of us.
Yeah. I believe Mark was the one who invited me, and I think it was Discord. Not Discord,
Mhm.
Reddit. I think maybe.
Interesting.
Maybe.
I love hearing
I just
everybody.
remember. I remember at one point. I remember at one point Mark asked me. I think it was Mark asked me to check the community out, and I was super anxious to do it because it's like I'm not normal. I don't. I'm afraid. I'm like I'm not gonna talk to anybody. I'm just gonna lurk. I'm just gonna sit
I'm gonna
here
lurk for a long
and,
time.
I'm just gonna chill. And then now here.
Yeah, and well, as soon as anybody pops up on our server, it's like this torrent of hellos.
Hello there.
Welcome. Tell us about yourself. Who are you? We like you.
So many Obi-Wans. Hello there. Hello there. Hello there.
But that's a great thing, right? What's
Mhm.
your what's been your favorite experience on the server?
I mean, what hasn't been my favorite? Honestly, like, I, like I said, I was worried that just existing makes me feel weird, and talking with other people, I'm always worried I'm put my foot in my mouth, or say the wrong thing, or be too excited and say something stupid, which it happens more often than not. But now I just kind of roll with it, and nobody here seems to mind. So,
It's because we're all
the
doing
community
this.
is just great. It's really great. It's fantastic. I wouldn't have been brave enough to do a lot of the things that I do otherwise, like the dice stuff. I probably
Mhm.
wouldn't have been brave enough to continue doing dice stuff if community hadn't been there.
Your dice are
It's
freaking awesome.
it's I mean I have my own dice channel in there now. It's
Yes,
everybody's dice
yes, I
channel,
know
but
because I look at it a lot. I lurk a lot until somebody tags me in something and then I respond.
I got a secret project that just may have finished printing. That's coming up soon. So,
Okay.
Richard sent me a video. Mr. Chaos sent me a video of something that I have to try. As soon as I saw it, I was like, I'm doing this for sure. I'm absolutely doing this. So, I'm not sure how much I want to spill because I don't know how long it's gonna take me to finish. But
Gotcha. Just
it's gonna
leave us.
take two different molds to make one set of dice. So I'm gonna have to
Whoa.
mold a set of dice, do something, and then mold them again. It's
Ooh. It's no secret I'm a giant dice goblin, so I'm here for this. This is gonna be amazing. Oh my gosh. So, like, you started with the dice. What got you into making dice?
I have no idea. Honestly,
Okay.
So I wanted more FFG dice, and I really wanted to make some for the guys to play with, but they don't sell it. You can't get them anymore. And at the time, we were all in the same state,
Uh-huh.
so the same city even, and it was easy. It was easier for me to be like, I'm gonna make dice and pass them out. Well, I didn't even get around to making dice until I moved to Colorado. So, it was just like I need more. I want more dice. I initially started. I don't know if I have them. I initially started. I made molds of the actual FFG dice, and
Mhm.
I emailed FFG about licensing and about being able to sell them or distribute them, and they're like,
Mhm.
no.
Yep.
And I'm like, what if I just give them out? And they're like, probably no. And I'm like, all right. I'm like, what if I just like if I have my own symbols? They're like, you do whatever you want with your own symbols. Like, okay. And then Chaos was actually, I think Chaos, Mark, and somebody else were all talking about different symbols and designs, and Chaos ended up making the Triumph that we were just like, that's the one. And then the Despair came, and it's like, whoa, this is even better. Then he made all the rest of them, and I think he incorporated Mark's idea for the. Okay, so hold on. Incorporated Mark's idea for the Force die. So like, I believe this was part of Mark's like design idea. I know we talked. I think Mark had the 2 circles, I think, or something like that.
I love
But
that.
we need to
Yeah.
make like half circles that close up, and then. But seriously, I think my favorite is Despair that he came up with.
Oh my god. It's
Chaos's design for the Despair, and I like making dice a lot. I've been trying new techniques, and I got to the point now where all of my dice are completely smooth now. So like I print them, I make the mold, I paint them, I fill them, and then I sand them and polish them. So they're completely flat. And
oh my gosh, that's amazing.
so much. And my wife actually started making dice bags.
Oh,
When I sell the dice, like everybody gets their own dice bag.
oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And it's a little family project.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, I'm just gonna stare at all your dice. So this interview is now gonna go for 3 more hours, and all we're gonna do is talk about all of the different dice.
I mean, I still have molds here. I mean, like these ones haven't been cast yet.
Yes.
But these were too deep. I wasn't able to.
Those look so good. What are you carving those in?
I'm 3D printing them, and
Oh,
then
brilliant.
I polish the 3D print.
Mhm.
The smoother the die is when you mold it, the smoother and more glossy it comes out initially. So like if I learned that the hard way, if you just toss an unsanded dice into the mold, they come out all like wibbly wobbly and bumpy wumpy. So if I sand them before I cast them, they come out smooth. So I have less work to do in the end. I keep trying to make the process easier and easier. I actually just got a new I got my drill and I got this little sanding pad.
Ooh.
So now instead of sanding by hand, I can just sit here and
That's
sand them.
brilliant. I have a drill almost exactly like that. I bought resin the other week. It's craft time, my friend. It's craft time. I love this.
I ordered new silicone and resin. So
Ooh, yes. Yeah. Well, friends, it is 9:59. We have chatted away for an hour. It's been absolutely delightful chatting for you. You don't get to go away yet, though.
That's it. I was gonna say we're not even like a quarter of the way into
I
how much I thought.
know. This is a beautiful thing. Is like all the questions get dropped in the chat, and then we start talking about interesting things, and I'm like, and your homework is to go back and talk to these questions. But like, so it's been great. It's been absolutely wonderful talking to you, and like talking about, just gaming building boundaries, and just teaching us in life that we have a place that we do belong, with a bunch of our weird friends and fantasy worlds, which I think is amazing.
Don't stop looking.
Yeah, never stop. Right, never stop looking.
I got found, so
that's what it is.
So
Mark
it seems to be
goes and
right when I
finds
give up. So
Yeah.
it's like, hey.
Yes, I love that. And we also love crafting. So it's the perfect place. But thanks, everybody. We will be back next month. I'm waiting to confirm on one person for next month, and then we've got to line up through like June and July. Everyone have an excellent evening. Thank you for joining us here on Behind the Mask, and now's when we smile and wave.